Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fibre Mates. My name is Gay, and next to me is Andrea.
Hi, how are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. On this fabulously warm day.
It is a bit warm. It is a bit warm today. We've got, I think, a total fire band today. 30, top of 36.
Yes.
We are in Port Arlington at Yarn Me Calm. And before we get stuck in, because this place is like an oasis, I think, of calm.
That's what we aim for.
You've nailed it.
Okay, good. Good to hear.
Before we go any further, I want to pay my respects to the First Nations people of the land on which this podcast is recorded, the Bellarine people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. Hi, Andrea, again.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
I'm a bit excited to be here, so thank you.
You're welcome. It was a bit of a drive for me this morning. So it took me about an hour and 45 minutes, I think, from where I am in Melbourne, to come to Port Arlington, where Yarn Me Calm is. And as you can see behind us, this shop is, well, I think I'm going to say deceptively large, because when you pull out front, it is the sweetest little shop front.
Little red door.
Little red door. We have a flag outside. And you walk in, and it's just this enormous, accessible space. And there is, I've done already a scan of the shop for you. And there's literally something for everyone here. How did you do it?
A bit of a story. So I'll get to the backstory later. But this store in particular, we actually started Yarn Me Calm in 2018 when we were still living in East Keilor, and started it as an online store only. That was the first iteration of Yarn Me Calm. And the plan, I'm married to an accountant, so there had to be a business plan. So the business plan was that we would generate some interest and build up a client base, and then look towards opening a storefront once we had that established. And probably lucky in some ways that we did it that way, because of course then COVID hit not long after, and we went into lockdowns, and so we're faced with the fact that we weren't going to be able to open a storefront for some time.
Yeah.
But having the online store meant that it was still accessible to people, which was fabulous. From there, though, I think during COVID we had to spend some time down here. We had a house down here in Port Arlington, and we've been coming here, both my husband and I, most of our lives. And we really just didn't want to go back. We really loved it down here, and sort of made the decision to move permanently in 2022 at the time of my 50th birthday. And made that shift, and we started in a warehouse in the industrial estate in Port Arlington, and we opened that to the public. And I was really, really lucky. A good friend of mine owns these premises and said to me, are you looking for someone new? And I went, well, not really, but we were at the point where we were about to renegotiate our lease. And I came in and had a look, and it was ghastly. It was orange and green, and there was danky old laser light that, was mouldy and looked like it would break if a bird stood on it. So Beryl, who owns the place, she actually replaced all that. We came in and painted it all out and fitted it out. And I have this phenomenal space that is great. And what's important to me is that it's really light and airy, but that people can move around really easily. So it is wheelchair accessible, it is walker accessible for people who do have mobility issues. There's actually lots of room for them to move. So, yeah.
Well, let's get to that backstory. How did you come to craft originally?
It's a bit of a story. So I was my beautiful grandmother was the most amazing crocheter. She was just beautiful. And she tried to teach me to crochet when I was about 6, and she was left-handed, I'm right-handed, and I just couldn't do that translation at that age.
Yes.
So she taught me to knit, so I could knit from the age of 6, but didn't start crocheting until my mid-20s. I had an incident at work, and I slipped the disc in my lower back.
Oh.
And I couldn't walk for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine knows that I'm not really good at sitting still doing nothing, hence why there's stuff in front of me. And she came over and taught me to crochet. And so I spent the next couple of weeks while I was, not able to move, whipping up these massive granny square blankets. So just one massive, huge granny square, and it was a lifesaver. And for many years, I would use crochet as a means to manage stress. And so my background is that I am a qualified youth worker, clinical family therapist, and therapeutic specialist. And my area of specialisation is developmental trauma.
So developmental meaning like in younger people?
Yeah, and understanding the implications of trauma and attachment on the developing brain.
Yes.
So that's my area of specialisation. So I used to work with the highest risk young people in the state and manage programs in that area for a really long time, for about 30 years, and was on call 24 hours a day, dealing with things like coronial inquests and being on ministerial advisory groups, that sort of thing. So lots of high stress.
Yes.
And those of us who knit and crochet, we all know this intrinsically, that if you pick up your crochet or your knitting, you automatically feel a sense of well-being and calm. Unless you're having to frog or you make a mistake. That's a whole different story.
I know.
So that's where it came from. So the idea of crocheting and knitting as a therapeutic modality, using that to actually calm you down and manage my stress in my work was a big part of it. And that, when I decided to step away from that world, led me into wanting to share that more broadly.
That part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, that's why yarn become. Yeah.
And I think that from when you step in to the shop, there is this sense of calm, and maybe that's because you've got it so well laid out. Like, it's not it's just, I think it's the layout and the space, and there's just that room to breathe when you are looking at things and discovering things. And let me tell you, there is a lot here to discover.
And that can be overwhelming.
It can be, but I feel like
you've got the space to move from one thing to the next, though. So
there's just something about it. It's like what's that French phrase? That je ne sais quoi.
Thank you.
Sorry, that sounds cliche,
no, it's
but
lovely.
There really is, and I hadn't expected that when I got here. So it's just a real surprise and a lovely one. So I think if you're looking for a little day trip, a little craft day out with your friends, it would be a perfect destination.
Absolutely. And if you pop in, we'll also tell you where you should go and eat and drink in the area as well. Because let me tell you, this is a winery region, and there are fabulous vineyards around and some amazing little shops to go and eat at, and some lovely little boutique stores as well. So lots of ways to spend the day.
Oh, I might have to take you up on that. So between knitting and crochet, which is your favorite and why? Or do you have a favorite?
I definitely have a favorite.
Okay.
So I am first and foremost a crocheter.
Okay.
So I'm much happier with a hook than I am with my needles. I can do both, but as a preference, I would much rather have a hook in hand.
Okay, why is that?
I think for me, I find the motion of crochet a more fluid one for me. Now, that's obviously not the same for everybody, and that's a very individual thing. But for me, when I have hook in hand, I feel very, very comfortable, and I feel that very calming. And I don't really have to think too much about it either. So I do find it very relaxing. So it's, for me, this is a preference. I also love the technique and the fabric that it creates.
This is sublime, what you're working on right now.
So this is mosaic crochet. This is a Aztec tears pattern. So it's a really simple repeat. And just using a lovely staple, which is the heirloom merino fleck. So lovely little tweedy fleck really nice price point too, which I love.
I
But
made a baby blanket.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
recently. Yeah.
And it just creates a really lovely fabric. And being a superwash, it's going to be really good for this. This is going to be something I will throw probably in my caravan, just as a little bit of a throw rug. So, yeah. And it's lovely and bright and happy.
It is. The color range on that, is that all merino fleck?
It is.
That's a beautiful color range.
It really is, yeah. The petrol blue is probably my favourite. They've just come out with a couple of new colours as well. So, but this was the range at the time. So I just sort of, people often ask me how long it takes me to finish any particular project. I can't give you a time frame. I usually have up to about 30 whips at any given time.
Yeah. So, well, that's a question done, tick done. Are you a monogamous?
No, I'm really,
crafter?
really not. I'm so not. So I've usually got about 30, and I'm a designer as well. So I've often got designs on the go, and I've got projects on the go. So I've usually got multiple things happening. So I can't give time frames because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I do. I love it.
I've decided this year to try and work monogamously. But I've got 2 blankets right now, one that I need to finish to give to somebody who's already had a baby, and one that's for me.
Yeah,
So
nice.
I'm trying to balance that.
For me, it's I get bored.
Okay.
So if I'm working on a blanket, this is lovely and mindful in as far as that it's really easy stitches, it's repetitive, I don't have to think very much. The problem is sometimes I need to have a challenge and I need some stimulation.
Yes.
So this doesn't give me that.
Yes.
So I need to then move on to something that will actually give me some stimulation and a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't get that from this. And when I'm designing, that is a whole different story again, because that's taking the creative process and putting a box around it, really.
Yeah.
Putting parameters around you creating. And so I have to be in the mood for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I tend to move from different things. And sometimes I want a blanket. And then sometimes I want to do some amigurumi, something little and cute.
Yes.
So it's always moving between different things. So monogamous making is just not for me. It's really not.
Well, I've committed to it for this year,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to see how I go, and it'll be a journey.
Absolutely. And that is the challenge in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to shift tact a little bit because I'm not sure that I was aware that you were a designer. Do you design mostly crochet?
I do.
Have you done any knitting designs?
No.
Any knitting designs?
No, I don't have any knitting designs, only crochet. I've just recently had one published in Homespun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's a mandala, and it's called The Rainbow in My Cloud. So, based on my Angelou quote, which I love, try to be the rainbow in somebody's cloud.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, that's what that one is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite design that you've designed?
No,
Not
really. I've designed amigurumi. I made a range of sensory toys that are called the Hugger family that I've got to create a new one for. I don't do wearables much unless it's cowls, and I've made a sort of a weird shrug thing that's very cute and very different. It's quite asymmetrical and eclectic to look at. But I don't do wearables because I'm going to be really honest, when it comes to having to do multi-sizing, I'm too lazy. So if I make things like that, I do it for myself.
Yeah.
I don't do it as for general consumption because then I've had to do all the sizing and get all the testing and
it's a massive
huge
process.
undertaking. And I take my hat off to those people who do it. You know, people like Susanna Kate from Pepper Goose.
Yeah.
I mean, her designs are some of the most amazing and size inclusive. But in order to do that, she needs testers from, extra small right through to 4XL. And that's diabolical.
Yeah, it's a difficult process. There's a lot of politicization of it now, and I think it just makes it even more difficult
Absolutely
to navigate as a designer. So absolutely
Yeah.
hats off.
Absolutely. I have the utmost respect for people who do that. That's just not for me.
Yeah.
But I do freeform jewellery, crochet jewellery,
Yes.
and teach workshops on that as well. I do homewares, all sorts of things. So a lot of my patterns are free on the blog,
Okay.
which is on the website. So
yarnmecalm.com.au.
yeah. So if you go into the Yarning Calm, the Calming Yarn, that is the blog, and all the patterns are in there for free, other than a couple that I have designed specifically for workshops that I don't have up on there.
Yeah. Do you have a Ravelry designer page?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'll just pause now to say I'll put links in the description box below, so if you hit more and more, you'll be able to see links to that. So I'll insert that all when I've got this ready to go. My dream crochet project this year is a crochet granny shawl.
Lovely. So you need to be able to make granny squares.
Well, I think it's just a granny
stitch.
I don't know, it's like a granny blanket.
Yeah.
But like in a shawl shape.
Okay. Yeah, lovely.
So I don't think it'll be too hard, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe. Do you think you could?
I think we could.
Do you think you could teach me? Because I brought my hook.
Okay.
And some scrap yarn. I don't know why I thought I might need scrap yarn.
Generally, my beginners class goes for 2 sessions of 3 hours each. So just saying. But
okay, so I can tell you that here's what I can do.
Yeah.
Is I can do a slip knot in the right direction.
That's always a good thing.
And I think I can chain, right? Because I'm probably not holding this right.
Do you know, can I just say something? This is one of the things that drives me nuts. There is no such thing as not holding it right.
Well,
you hold it whichever way works for you.
The one thing I don't get is whether I need to put the yarn under the hook or over the hook.
They're 2 different stitches.
Oh.
So, same stitch, but you'll get a different outcome. So if you go yarn over, which is normal, so that's the other way, that's yarn under.
Oh, wait.
So yarn over comes back to front. That's yarn over, and that's a chain. Beautiful.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, yarn over will give you a looser stitch because the amount of yarn it takes to go over the hook creates a larger stitch. Yarn under uses less yarn, see? So it creates a tighter stitch. Now, yarn under is fabulous, everybody, if you're making amigurumi. If you want a really tight, dense single crochet in US terms or double crochet in UK terms, yarn under will give you a dense, tight stitch that you won't see the stuffing behind. Whereas yarn over will give you a nicer, drapier fabric. So the typical is yarn, so that's under. That's under.
And you can kind of see.
You can see the difference. You can see the tightness of that. And then if you were working your double crochet or single crochet into those stitches, that would be
harder.
It would be much more difficult, whereas working to those is much simpler.
Okay. All right, so lesson 1. Tick.
Yeah. And a tip while we're at it. So.
All right.
So the best way to start off a granny square is that this is the easiest way. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can start with working chains and working into the first chain as your first stitch. You can do a magic ring.
Oh, yes, I've used magic ring for a pinhole cast on in knitting.
Yeah, so you can use the magic ring, which will give you a tight start. The benefit of that is that you'll have no visible ring in your granny square. The downfall is if you don't secure that tail well, it will open.
Yeah. Similar to a pinhole cast.
Absolutely, absolutely. The easiest one is to chain 4.
2, 3, because this is all about counting.
Absolutely.
4.
And then you go into the first of your chains and join with a slip stitch.
So
put the hook down into that first chain.
Wait, before?
Yeah,
Here.
so down there.
In,
Yeah,
just in there?
Yeah.
Like that?
and then yarn over and pull it through both. And
That
that's the
one.
slip stitch. And that,
Whoops.
that's the good thing about crochet,
And
is
that
if you
one.
drop that stitch knitting, that would be painful. With
Yeah.
crochet, you just pick it up again. So
Okay.
that creates your center hole. If I pull that up and you look just there, there's the hole. And that's where you're going to work into. That's the center of your granny square.
Right
so
there.
It's right there. That's part of your stitch. Just there. There you go.
Okay.
So then you're going to chain 3. And that first chain 3 counts as your first. Now, do you use UK or US terms?
See, I have no terms.
No terms. Okay, so
What's
if
easier as an Australian crocheter?
as an Australian crocheter, there's both. Honestly, because the way the world is and the accessibility of patterns, we can access patterns from right across Europe and the UK and right across the US. And so as a consequence, some are going to be written in US terminology and some will be written in UK terminology.
Okay.
So we might start with US terminology for you.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
All
So
right.
you're going to do a US double crochet, which is chain 3 will act as your first double crochet.
So do I go in there?
No, you just chain right here into that yarn. Yeah, so just do 3 chains.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and then we're going to do a double crochet. So that is a yarn over,
Yarn over.
and then into the circle that you've created between,
Into the circle.
yeah, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook.
I've got 3 loops.
Beautiful. And then yarn over,
Yarn over.
pull through the first 2,
Yep.
then yarn over,
Yarn over.
and pull through the next 2. And there's your first double crochet. Yeah, that's the foundation of any granny square. You need to know that stitch.
So,
And now you're going to do that again. Yarn over, go into the circle,
oh, whoops, hold on. I think
you change. Yeah, so yarn over,
yeah.
that's an under, so go yarn over. Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
And then into the circle, same circle.
That same circle?
The same circle, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull up a loop.
Oh, yeah, there's 3.
Yeah, and then yarn over,
Yarn over.
pull through 2,
3, 2, and there's 1.
yarn over, and then pull through 2. And then you should have your circle there and 3 trebles, or double crochet in UK terms. So you've gone into the wrong hole.
Oh.
See, if you look, you've got 1, 2, 3 going into the hole. You've
Oh,
got
yeah.
1, you've gone around that stitch into there instead of into there.
Oh.
So if you look at that 1, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll put yours down and we'll have a look. You can see yours is actually, your first stitch goes into there, you've gone around that stitch there. And the beauty of crochet, everybody, the thing that I absolutely love, is that's all you have to do to fix it. There you go. So there's your first stitch there. Let's put that down. There's your first stitch, like that one. There's your second stitch there. Now you're going to do your third one. Now you went into here. Where you've got to go into is that same one there. So it's yarn over and into there. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And there you go. That's a granny cluster. 3 stitches. So in order to keep going, that would be 1 cluster. So on a granny square, you have on the first starting square, you have 3 stitches, a corner, 3 stitches, a corner, 3 stitches, a corner, 3 stitches, a corner.
Okay.
So you're going to finish that. So you're going to chain 2 to create your corner.
Okay. I can do that. 1,
Very impromptu lesson, everybody.
2.
Yeah. So 1, 2 to create your corner, and then that same hole, exactly the same hole. So that's it right there.
Yes.
That's where your stitches are going into.
Yeah.
So you've got a yarn over, go into the hole,
There.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over,
Oh,
pull through 2.
I've got that part.
Yeah,
2,
yarn
3.
over. Yep. Do that 2 more times into that same hole.
So that hole there.
That hole there. Yep.
I can do this.
So 2 more.
Go through 2.
Now,
Did I do that
now
right?
if you have a look, you'll see you've got your first corner. There's your first little stitches. There's your corner. There's 1/2 of the square.
Oh my gosh. And then,
Now you're going to chain 2
yeah.
and do another corner.
Oh my gosh, this is happening, people.
So I'm very
Chain
lucky, everybody.
2.
I'm actually on the Crochet Guild of Australia committee, the National Guild. So if I couldn't do this, it'd probably be a bit of a problem.
Chain 2, and then I go in this one, next one here.
No, that one right there. See how they're all going into that center there. So yarn over first.
Oops.
Yarn over. Yep. 3 sides of a square. Chain 2. Oh, hang on. How many have we got there? We've just got 1. So you need to do 2 more of those
Into there.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
Yarn over through 2.
And that's another side. Now you have 3 sides of a square. You're going to chain 2.
Oh my gosh. Chain 2. Whoops. My hook came out. That's alright.
That's again,
that right
it's all
back
it's
in.
really easy with crochet because you just pick up again
Now, where do I go in again?
right there.
Oh, so same
Same spot.
yarn over through the hole.
Yep.
Yarn over. Yarn over.
Pull up the loop. Yep.
Then yarn over through 2. Yarn over through 2.
Yep.
Whoops.
Then 2 more of those in the same spot.
Yarn
The
over.
hardest part is in the starting to see exactly where that center is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Once
can
you've got
see
that, yeah.
And then again.
Beautiful. Now chain 2,
Oh my.
and then you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top.
Okay.
See here, that's your first chain 3. You can see just there.
Yeah.
So you're just going to pull that out so we can see it clearly. So there's your 1, 2, 3. So you're just going to join with a slip stitch right there. And you have a square.
Oh my gosh. And it's like actually square. So then how does that grow
So this is the
from there?
There's a couple of ways that people do this. So the traditional granny square would have you working across here into that corner. I don't do that when I teach crochet. I actually get you to turn your work, and I do that because it means that the fabric then becomes double-sided, so it doesn't have a front or a back,
Okay.
which is always helpful. And I also like it because then you're working directly into a space below where you just finished, rather than having to work across several stitches.
Oh, so would I go into this
Yeah, so
that spot?
you're going to chain 3 to get you up to your next row. So you're always going to do a chain 3 at the start of the round
to give a bit
height.
of yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Now turn your work. So that this is
Whoops! I did
yeah.
it. I did turn my work.
That's
already.
okay. So if you didn't turn your work, you would have to do an extra chain, and you would have to work over to here and keep going.
Yeah.
When you do that, what I find is granny squares have this lean to them, and they have a weird little twist happening as it gets bigger.
Okay.
Doing it this way, it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So turn the work, and then you can see there's your corner there.
So I just do the same.
You're going. That counts as your first double crochet. You're going to do 2 double crochet into that corner there.
All right. So the first one done.
Yep.
Yarn over through the hole. Now through 2, like that.
And then you're going to chain 2 and do another 3 into the same corner.
Okay. Chain 2 or 3.
2. You do
And
2
then
chains in a corner. Yeah.
Another 3.
Another 3 doubles into that spot.
3.
Beautiful. Now if you have a look, you've just done your next corner.
Ah.
Now you're going to go straight over to here. No, you're not going to do a chain, you're not going to do anything, you're going to go straight into that corner and do another 3 doubles into that corner.
Okay. I've got this.
Once you do the first 2 rounds, they're the most complex. After that it becomes really easy. It's just repeats.
This is super exciting because there's also, I mean, maybe I wouldn't tackle it this year, but there is a sweater pattern that I love that is granny squares at the bottom, like in the body.
Yeah.
And then it's knit on the top.
I think I mentioned earlier, I did just finish the Coraline sweater with the short sleeve version by Kotek and Motek, and that is a crocheted yoke, top-down crocheted yoke with a knitted body, and it is stunning.
All right,
So now you're going to chain 2.
Okay, 2.
And then you're going to do another 3 into the same corner.
Okay.
Another three doubles. Yeah.
And 3.
Okay, so what you should have now is 2 completed corners. You do.
Oh my God. And then I just go into that one?
You go into that one.
You can kind of see now, like, it's taking shape, and I can visualize, like,
it should be a lot easier to see what it is now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Is it fun because it's new? It's like a dopamine hit.
It really is a dopamine hit, isn't it? It really is. That lovely little reward center of the brain is going, woohoo!
Right? I think that's 3.
Yeah. And now chain 2.
And I'm getting quicker too.
Yeah. And then another 3 into the same corner. So you create your 3rd corner. So the next round is when it becomes really easy. You work on sides and you work on corners. Whereas in the first round and the second round, it's only corners.
Yep.
Beautiful. And now you've got your final corner there.
Do I have to chain 2 here?
No. You're going straight over to that corner. You're going to do 3 double crochets into the corner.
And is it double crochet because you do go through 2 and then go through 2? Like you have 3 stitches on the hook?
I can't remember exactly why there's a difference. In UK terminology, that same stitch is called a treble crochet.
Oh, is it because there's 3? I wonder if it's 3 stitch, like I think 3 loops on the hook.
Yeah, so they have different terminology. And one of the tricky things most people find is if they're reading a pattern, if it doesn't state that it's UK or US terminology, and you start making it, and then all of a sudden it's wrong, and the shape is completely out because the size of the stitches are different.
Yeah.
The rule of thumb, honestly, if you ever need to work it out, if there is a single crochet in the pattern, it's US terminology, because UK terminology doesn't have a single crochet.
Oh, that's handy to know.
Yeah, so that's always the rule of thumb if you're trying to work out which is which. Okay, so you're going to chain 2 and do another 3 into that same spot.
Thank God you know that, because I lost count.
That's okay. If you pop it down on the table or on a white sheet of paper, you can actually count your stitches and see them really clearly.
Okay.
So
that's another good tip.
Yeah, so when I'm teaching beginner crochet, that's what I always get people to do, is actually pop it down in front of them and count. What I find is if you're holding it up here, particularly as a beginner, it's really hard to see what you're doing.
Because is that 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, so it gets a little bit confusing, whereas if you pop it down and count them out, lay it flat, it's much easier.
And I think especially because this yarn's a bit darker.
Yeah.
But there, I can see that's 1, 2, 3.
You can,
after
absolutely.
The little...
So now, there's the top of your first chain 3. You're going to do a slip stitch into that chain there.
Okay, now to do the slip stitch.
So pop the hook through the stitch. No, so through the actual stitch itself.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There we go. In there.
So up.
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah, that's it. Now
Okay.
yarn over and pull it through both. That's it, slip stitch. And now you have...
Oh my gosh, look at... All right, so maybe it's a little wonky there.
It's pretty good. I think, no, it's just tension. So as you get a little bit more used to it, your tension will improve. So.
And for a crochet, like I might, for knitting, if I have a little tension issue, I'll be like, oh, that'll block out. Is blocking help crochet?
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. So I'm a big believer of blocking. So particularly for certain projects.
Yeah.
It needs it, and certain fibres definitely need it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is getting me going.
So the next round's is when it starts to get really easy, because you then work down, you have a side like that. That's a side, so you just have your 3 in a side, and then you go into a corner. So the corner is 3 doubles. 2 chain 3 doubles. Sorry, I've got to do crochet quickly.
No, that's okay.
So corner, and then go back into the side, and the side is just going into that same spot there, on the side there. 1, 2, 3. So there's no chains on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Over to a corner again. And as it gets bigger, you have more sides. And you just do three doubles into your side with no chains. And you just keep doing 3 doubles, 3 doubles, 3 doubles, which is a granny cluster. And in the corner is always 3 doubles, 2 chain, 3 doubles.
So 3 doubles for a side.
Yep.
3 doubles, 2 chain, 3 doubles
in
for
a corner. That's it.
So when I...
And that gives you the increase.
So now I would chain 3.
Chain 3 to go up to your next row, and then turn.
My attention, I feel like, is awful.
That's okay. And then turn, and then you're working into there. So that's your first one. So do 2 doubles into the side.
2.
Yeah. And now you're going straight into the side because you're going into the corner. Sorry, because you're on a side, there's no chains in between. Yeah. So straight over to there. So yarn over. Yeah.
Alright, so I've done my 3, and now I chain 2. Yeah, because I'm in the corner.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I've got it.
You have, and you'll be doing 100 granny squares before you know it.
I feel like granny squares are such a good option for leftovers.
They really are. And you can add new colours in. You can do all sorts of things.
So that's
it's a corner. Look at that.
Okay. I'll put some B-roll of my granny square for everybody. I feel like I just want to keep working on this, but let me see what the next question is meant to be.
It is very addictive.
I'm actually going to read this question. I probably should have memorized it.
Okay.
Because we spoke a couple of months ago. You can keep granny squaring. I think I'm going to as well once I get this question out of my mouth.
Swap back over to my mosaic crochet now.
So when we last spoke, you talked about starting Yarn.com, and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, about being a place of rest for people, a place where people could learn craft, to support mindfulness and community. How do you think Yarn.com achieves this?
Yeah. So some of the things that we do here is we have our social Saturday on the first Saturday of the month.
Okay.
So that's open to everybody. It doesn't matter what craft it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that you have to bring knitting or crocheting. If you want to bring a small loom or beading or whatever you're working on, then that's welcome.
Mm-hmm.
We sit at this table here, and I actually have to put a couple of extra tables because there's too many of us. As long as you can fit at the table comfortably with your chosen craft, then it's welcome.
Yeah.
It's really a space that's inclusive for everybody, and nastiness isn't welcome in the building.
Yeah.
I have no tolerance for it, and will quite happily ask people to leave if they bring that in through the door. So I have no problem whatsoever in doing that. It's something that I'm really passionate about, making sure that it's a safe place. People will often come in and just sit and chat, and they're perfectly welcome to do that. People often bring things in for advice and have a chat about what they're working on.
Yeah.
And even with yarn that's not purchased from us, and that's okay too. Because this is really about it being a safe place for everybody and being a place that's community focused, and that is accessible. So that's the stuff I'm passionate about. I think coming from a youth worker and therapist background, I needed the place to be more than just a retail space. It needed to be something that sort of filled my soul as well, and that's what Yarn.com does. So often people will come in and say that they do get that sense from here, and that sort of means a lot to me. I'm really lucky. I've got some of the most amazing staff. They make my world a lot easier, can I tell you, and they are so welcoming and lovely to everybody who walks in the door, and they sort of epitomise what Yarn.com is, and so they embody it, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
And they're just a diverse group of people as well, which is really lovely. So ranging from a 22-year-old through to a grandmother, and Billy, who works on a Friday and Saturday, he's gorgeous. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to know, and that messaging about there's a place for everybody in crafting,
Absolutely.
in fiber craft, and I think that's definitely comes across here. And I think Katrina from Pirate Pearl Yarns, who was the interview in January, she also talked about that, and how that her being welcomed made a huge difference. So I think that's a fantastic message to continue, or to have from here.
It's something that, for me, this is my happy place, and it needed to be that for other people as well. So it's something that you share. You know, when you find a place that makes you happy, and that actually boosts your well-being, and gives you the dopamine hit, and you know gives you a bit of oxytocin because you're hanging around with other people that love what you love.
Yes.
All of those things, for me, it's that's what this should be, and it's something that I find particularly important. Yeah.
Yeah. And you also have classes. Well, obviously you're a fantastic teacher. Look at this. I've done a corner, and
you've done a side all on your own. Well done.
And now I'm getting back to the corner, but I don't have to chain to get into the corner. No,
you just go straight into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of classes. We have and on a range of different things. So I'm really privileged because I've been on the National Crochet Guild. I'm a founding member of the guild, but I'm also on the committee, and have been for a couple of years, and organised the annual conventions up until this year, and I handed over the reins to someone else. And I've been really lucky to meet some amazing people as part of that journey.
Yeah.
And as part of that, last year we had Tina from Iceland deliver some workshops here, which was pretty phenomenal.
I saw that and was very, I don't know, because I have absolutely no crochet skills. So I was like, maybe not for me, but
pretty phenomenal. Yeah. We have Tess from Fluff and Nonsense, who's also my partner in Gabby's.
Yeah.
So Tess delivers some workshops here as well. She does dyeing workshops and some knitting workshops here.
She has a great sock knitting workshop, I think.
She does. We've got one of those coming up too. She's phenomenal, and she's such a beautifully patient teacher. Her mannerism is just divine. Can I just tell you, if you haven't experienced her teaching before, you've missed out. She's just a beautiful human being. We have drop spinning. Yeah, we have weaving workshops.
Because you have Ashford here.
I do. I'm an Ashford dealer. So I actually have 6 25-centimetre looms in my office that I have for people to use to learn weaving.
Oh, wow.
So, you don't have to have anything to come along to that. We provide it. We've got Pauline Franklin coming over from WA next month doing embroidery workshops. If you don't follow her, trust me, get on and check her out. Her work is out of this world. Absolutely crazy, clever and talented.
In embroidery?
Yeah. So we've got, for the Guild this year, the convention is in Wollongong in June, and we've got Toni Lipsey coming out as our international guest.
That is so amazing.
I know, it's huge. And Toni is a beautiful human being, can I tell you. She's coming out with Mama Gwen, and she is going to fly into Melbourne and come stay here with me and do some workshops here in Port Arlington.
Hot tip.
So that's only just been formalised, so that's a bit exciting.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, she is just beautiful. I've also got Arunima from Knit and Nodder, is a good friend of mine, and she is amazing. So her work is breathtaking. And so Aruna's going to come down and do some workshops. Got Kathy Bassick from Driftwood Cottage Designs, who does the most amazing designs, hers, in waistcoat stitch, which is it's a crochet stitch that looks like knitted. It actually doesn't.
Oh.
It looks very knitted. Doesn't look anything like crochet. Very hard to. You actually have to really know what you're looking at to determine that it's not knitting. And she'll be here in April. She's coming to Gabby's, and she'll be staying here with me because she's a friend of mine, and she'll do some workshops while she's here. So we've got crochet workshops coming out of everywhere because I teach those. So yeah, there's lots and lots of workshops. Yeah.
I'm having one right now.
So we do lots of things, and it's good fun. It's just, we love it. We have great fun with teaching and with running different workshops and being involved in them. So you're...
Did I mess up there?
No. You just need to frog those two because you've gone into here instead of your corner.
Oh, okay.
We don't call that messing up. This is the beauty of crochet. Yes, frogging is so easy. You're going into that one.
Into that one.
Yeah.
All right.
So do 3, 2, 3.
Yeah.
3 double, 2 chain, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Crochet extraordinaire over here.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what one thing I love about craft is that no matter what else is going on in your life and no matter how crap you might feel about yourself in other areas, you can pick up knitting and like have this kind of feeling about confidence.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That feeling of accomplishment, a little bit of a serotonin rush as well.
Right.
You know, all these things are all really good for you.
And look, maybe it's something small, right? You're not winning the Nobel Prize, but like, hey, I've like basically just made my first granny square.
Which is phenomenal.
So challenges with running a small business. I kind of feel like every time I open Instagram lately, I see somebody's announcing that they're closing or that they're going to step away for a while. Or how do you run Yarn.com so that it's sustainable for you emotionally, financially? Like, what are some of the things that you have to think about?
The emotional part of it is easy. So I do a lot more than just Yarn.com as well. So I am very, very lucky. As mentioned, I'm on the Crochet Girl Australia committee, so I'm heavily involved there. I'm also on the local Bellarine Agricultural Show committee and the judge for the handicrafts at Geelong show as well as here. So, sort of fingers in lots of pies. I teach university still. So I do that online and teach across 6 degrees.
Yeah.
So, and that's about the therapeutic side of things and specifically relating to working with young people. So I do that, which keeps that part of my world still active without actually having to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to manage a really large amount of staff, and I was in charge of the critical incident debriefing team and used to do those sort of things. And so one of the things that I used to talk to my staff about was having a self-care plan. So having a really clear plan for yourself on how to manage the things that you deal with.
Yeah.
And, you know, we used to hear a lot of people's stories, so there was always the risk of vicarious trauma, and, you know, we used to have to sit with that, which, you know, don't get me wrong, I loved what I did for 30 years, and I was so privileged to be part of so many young people's and their families' lives, but that takes its toll. And so I would always have a very clear self-care plan for myself. These days, that's always about having holidays and having time away. That's really important because running a small business can be all-encompassing. It can take up every facet of your life if you let it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all-consuming almost to make sure that it continues to be viable. So looking after yourself is a critical component of that. If you don't have that built in, you will burn out.
Yeah.
So my husband and I have got a caravan that we nick off in, and I work from there, and my amazing staff, Caroline, Marg, Billy, and soon to be Lily, stay here and look after the shop, and I manage things remotely. And that's a big part of it, you know, getting away. My dogs, my beautiful husband, he makes my life so much easier. Life wouldn't work without Mr. YMC, can I tell you?
Yeah.
So that's really important. We go overseas, big overseas trips every 2 years. and we do lots of small trips in between.
Mm-hmm.
So that for me is the emotional part, really looking after myself and having very clear planning in place. The financial part, probably really tricky for a lot of people at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got interest rate rises again. There's the global economy is impacted by decisions that are outside of our control.
Mm-hmm.
That those sort of things, have a bearing. I don't, for example, I don't ship to America anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. So I had customers in America. I don't do that anymore because from a viability perspective, I had to make a decision. So there are those sort of things to take into consideration that you don't have control over financially. So it's about being able to pivot really easily and be creative and think outside the box. I had always thought of myself as a yarn store, but I do have embroidery stuff and I do have haberdashery stuff for our locals. And when someone comes in and says to me, can I explore this for them? I'm always open to looking at new things. So I think that is part of it, not being rigid in your thinking.
Yes.
And willing to work outside of the box and be a little bit uncomfortable. And I think sometimes that's part of the thinking for me. I'm happy to work outside. My head works out that way anyway. But I think, being flexible in that means that it actually helps increase your viability and sustainability. Yeah.
No, I think that resonates 100%. I used to do some kind of similar work, but self-care was paramount.
Yeah.
So I've done my slip stitch. I've done my chain 3.
So you're going to
turn
it, and so you're going to work directly into there. There's a side.
Here we go. Here we go.
So that for me, that's a lot. I'm really lucky as well. I'm probably in a really privileged position that I have an accountant husband.
Yeah.
So I rarely have to do minimal bookwork of my own. Got to be really honest.
Yeah.
Which is the bane of everybody. Any creative hates bookwork. As a rule, I don't have to do much of it. I get to focus on the other parts of the business.
Yeah.
And he takes care of that for me.
That's really nice.
It is really nice. Yeah. So I am very privileged, and I totally acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I just did my tax yesterday. Yeah. For my accountant.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas my husband just says to me, "Honey, you've got to pay your BAS on this date. I've scheduled the payment."
Great.
So yeah.
For those of you not in Australia, BAS is a business activity statement tax that small businesses need to pay quarterly. So it's based on the GST and turnover and all these other fun.
Yeah, so it
things.
has to be calculated based on your income and on all sorts of things. And honestly, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with it. I just get to pay it. That's it.
I outsource that activity. Yeah. How do you decide what to sell in the shop?
Oh, this is always a funny one. So my theory is this: if I like it, there's a good chance somebody else is going to. So I will often get stock in because it appeals to me.
That's all right.
So, and because I want it. So, which is not really sound business sense, can I tell you? But my theory is always someone else will like it if I do.
Yeah.
And thus far, I haven't been too far wrong.
Okay.
The other thing is I have people, ask me to get things in or see if I can source things, and I'm always happy to listen to what other people are saying. I also do things like watch different podcasts and see what's interesting at the moment and what people might be interested in. And again, I make the determination based on if I'm intrigued by it, then it's a chance someone is going to be. So then the way I usually do it to make sure that it is a financially sound decision and I'm not just being frivolous because I want something, because let's be honest, that's okay too. But I will usually just get a small amount in to see how it goes and then base whether or not I restock it or expand the selection based on sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I still get it, and more often than not, and I'm not sure, it's quite funny, I will often get stock in that never makes it to the shelf. And that's not me, by the way. That is usually Caroline and Marg and Billy, because they'll see it.
Yep.
And they will take it before it actually ever hits the website or the shelf. So there is that is a slight dilemma as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I did a video recently showing some books that we just got in, really beautiful books from Lana.
Oh, yeah.
They were gorgeous. And as I'm sitting there doing my video, this hand comes into frame, takes the book,
And off it goes.
and off it goes. Consequently, that one was never sold in the store.
Okay, another question.
So
I've done a side. Is
you've
that
got to do
another one?
you've got to do one
One
more.
more?
You've only got two in there, and
Okay.
you've actually gone into the stitch and not into the hole.
Oh,
So-
so I can just pull that
Just
out.
pull those out. The beauty of crochet, that's it. Frog it back a little bit,
And
and
then
you're
I go into that hole,
Yes,
and then I do another
that's it.
side into that hole,
Yeah.
and then a corner into
Yeah.
that hole. All right, off
so
I go.
you just went into the stitch, which if you were doing normal crochet, you would go in the stitch, but in a granny stitch, granny cluster, you go into the hole, into the space.
All right.
So
That's
this is
doing
going
it.
this is going into the stitch, and it's doing back loop only. So there's the stitch.
Yes.
There, that would be the normal stitch. You go under the V,
Yeah.
but I'm doing what's called back loop only, which is what you do for mosaic, and it leaves that little ridge.
It's really funny because it looks so simple, but I feel like that's complicated. But
It's
maybe it's only
It's
complicated
really
for me.
simple. It's really simple. The beauty of mosaic crochet, one of the things that I adore about it is that it creates the most amazing patterns, and it uses 2 stitches. Or the most complicated part of mosaic crochet is counting to get the pattern.
Well, I can't even count on my granny square, so that's all right.
Because that blanket there that's mosaic crochet.
It's stunning.
So
The pattern is beautiful. The yarn is beautiful.
the yarn is Stanley cotton cake. That's one that it's 100% cotton that I import from Bulgaria.
Does it change color?
It does. It's a gradient cake.
So you just need one,
You-
or like this would be.
This
two.
is two
Two
colours.
colours.
Yeah, yeah. So you use your gradient colour in the background, and you use the cream in this instance as the contrast, and that's it. And you carry it behind, so all the way up, because you only do one colour one yarn per row.
Okay.
So
Well, that's simple.
These
That
are
makes
just
it
alternating.
Simple. Oh,
Yeah.
similar to mosaic knitting.
Yeah, yeah. So you're just carrying it up one row. That's
Oh.
it. Yeah.
All right. So maybe this crochet isn't
As complex.
as complex as I've made it out to be. Are you a knitter or a crocheter? Let us know in the comments. What is your preferred craft, or do you do both?
Are you bistitchual?
Stitchable.
I love that. I love it. Are
I
you
love
bistitchual? Yeah.
Um,
Because now you are.
now I am,
Now
because
you are.
look at this. In the time that we've been talking, I'm about to start this corner. Here we go.
And this is one of the beautiful things about crochet is that it's also quick.
It's pretty. I think it is.
It is. Yeah. It does use more yarn though, everybody.
Choose more yarn.
It does use way more yarn than knitting does.
Should we talk about Gabby's?
Let's do.
How's that all going?
It's very exciting, everybody. So if you missed one of the previous podcasts about Gabby's where we caught up with Tess, who is my partner in crime for Gabby's, which is the Geelong and Bellarine Yarn Show. It is our inaugural New York Yarn Show, can I just tell you? I'm so excited.
The 18th of April.
Yep.
This year.
Yep.
Coming up soon.
Very, very soon at Deakin Waterfront in Geelong. Lovely and accessible. You can get there via ferry. Now, here's a shout out, everyone, to Port Phillip Ferries. They are actually looking after us, and will be looking at giving a discounted rate for the ferry on that day if you're coming from Melbourne.
Ooh.
So you can pop over from Melbourne on the ferry, go straight to Geelong, pop into Gabby's, go for lunch, and then jump back on the ferry to Melbourne. I know. How fabulous is
I
that?
think that sounds like an amazing day, especially because you can outsource the driving.
I know. So you don't even have to drive all the way down. There is trains down as well.
Yeah.
So Geelong Station's really close by.
Yep.
and
It's walkable.
or you can drive down. There's lots to do and see in the area. It's a beautiful part of the world, so there's you can pop out to the Bellarine as well while you're down here and come out to Yarn Become. Or the other one is to go see Kerry at Yarns on Shannon.
Yes,
yes.
over on, is that Packington Street?
No, she's now on Shannon. She moved from Packington. Yeah, so you could go see Kerry while you're down there as well.
Okay.
So I don't work in a way that is. I like to be really collaborative. So, and Kerry's gorgeous, so I'm more than happy to give her a shout out.
I've been to her store before.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
She's a gorgeous human being. So yeah,
and there's lots of nice cafes over there too.
Absolutely. So there's lots to do. So that's it's the brainchild of both Tess and I. It's a bit of a funny one. We were both thinking about having a yarn show down here on the Bellarine for me, and Tess was thinking Geelong, and wondering why there wasn't one, basically.
Yeah.
You know, Geelong was the premier place in Australia for wool production for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it's not any longer, but there's a lot of that history belongs there. And the Bellarine, we had lots of sheep farm. So we actually grew a lot of the fleece that was processed in Geelong as well. And we should celebrate that history, and we've got some amazing indie dyers and designers and retailers all across the region, and we thought how nice would it be to actually have something that is region specific.
Yeah.
So Tess contacted me and she said, I'm thinking of doing this, what do you think, do you want to join, do you want to come on board? And I said, well, funny, I'm thinking of the same thing. So we decided to do it as a partnership. And
I think that's lovely. I love that story.
It's sort of a bit reflective of who Tess is as well.
Yeah.
Which is really lovely. So we're very excited. Can't wait. We've got about 30 vendors.
Amazing. Has that all been announced?
No, they will be very, very shortly. I can give you a couple of little cheeky ones.
Okay, let's have it.
So I'll have to find them for you and tell you. So we do have, Kathy Vassett from Driftwood Cottage Designs will be there with her waistcoat design.
Oh, cool.
I can tell you that Kathy will be there. I can tell you that Al Athena will be there.
Love Laura's yarn.
Yeah.
She's such beautiful eye for colour, Laura.
So that's a definite. So yeah, what I would say is jump on the website and watch out social media as well, because
I feel like people have been starting to announce.
Yeah, so we're starting to put it out there, so which is really exciting. So I'm expecting we'll have some social media blurbs coming out about some of our vendors very shortly, and our amazing sponsors as well. So yeah, so we're very excited. We've got demonstrators as well. So it's pretty cool actually.
I could be the crochet demonstrator.
You could be the. It's looking fabulous. Can I just say, look at that. Look at you go. So yeah,
I'm not quite sure what I've done now, because I know I have to.
You're right. You're working inside, so you've got to yarn over and go through those two.
Okay.
Finish the stitch. There you go.
All right. All good now.
Yeah. So Gabby's is we're very excited about it. We're planning for our first year. We're just going to do a one-day event. One day is enough for the first year, I think.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I had these fabulous ideas in my head about doing workshops and going for a whole weekend and making it a massive event. And Tess is going, no, slow down. Let's do one day for the first year, and then we'll look at doing more as we go. And so, she's definitely the voice of reason.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
Yeah, and I think as a partnership that really works nicely.
It's a good balance.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I get all excited and want to run with things and do 10 million things at once.
Yeah.
And Tess sort of reins me in a bit, which is really good.
A bit more measured.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that works. That's good.
Yeah.
Yin and yang.
Absolutely it is, yeah. So I'm really lucky. I have yarn here from all over the world. I have yarn that is hand dyed by some amazing indie dyers here in Australia, including Tess from Fluff and Nonsense, and Robin from Shutterglen Designs, and Kylie from Fibre, and Catherine from the Australian Wool Store. Now, Catherine doesn't usually sell wholesale, but I'm really lucky that she will for me, so I'm very, very spoiled. Nellie from Swish Yarns. So we actually have a really lovely range of indie dyers. I suppose one bit of news on that is that starting at Gabby's will be the launch of our own range of hand-dyed yarn from Yarn Become.
That's super exciting. How did that come to be?
It was a bit of a why not, actually, I think.
Yeah.
So I love colour. I love creating. I love doing things a little bit differently. As I said before, I've got some amazing staff here. They're all pretty much the same. They basically come to work so they can spend their money on yarn.
I work for yarn as well.
Yeah, so, if you ask any of them, I don't think they actually take any money away from their wages. So I think it was, we actually did a dyeing workshop with Tess here.
Yeah.
So Tess came and did some workshops, and it's something I've had in mind for a really long time. And I said to Tess, well, what I might do is I'll get everything I need for the workshop. I'll have everything here set up, and then we'll start contemplating doing it afterward, because I'm going to have to buy it anyway.
You've got the gear.
Exactly. So we've set up a dyeing workshop in the back. So the premises here, the front is huge, the back is the same size, which is all storage for yarn and the dyeing workshop, the dyeing space as well. So, so the Yarn Become yarn will be on different bases, starting off with only a 4 and an 8 ply in our first range.
Fair.
Yeah, I think that's for the first range. I think for April is nice. That's nice weights. The next range will be dyed for the Crochet Guild Convention in June.
Yeah.
The next one will be an Advent, I think. You heard that here first. Yeah, because why not?
Why not?
Why not? And so what we're going to do, and it's probably a little bit of a reflection of who we are here at Yarn Become. So the label is the Yarn Become logo, which is a female sitting on top of a yarn ball in a yoga pose. So it's very reflective of that.
Yeah.
But each one of our staff, including myself, will actually have their own range as part of the limited release. So mine are all based on happy feelings. So I've actually done one already called Euphoria. And so it's Euphoria by Andrea, or Andrea's Euphoria. And that will be for all my staff as well. So their name will be on all the labels.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we're actually having dyeing days where we have a bit of fun, and they've done some exploration into the colours they want to do, and I've got to dye a specific range of assigned pulling yarn for Kathy, because she does beautiful assigned pulling designs. So so that's that. Some of my we do have some Langenor, which I love.
I like it too.
Every Langenor yarn that we have, I have got because I love it. What else do I just adore? We stock the full range of Tex Yarns, Fiddlesticks yarns.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's important for me is that we have yarn for everybody.
Yeah.
So we have some really low-priced acrylics for people who do charity knitting and who don't have a huge amount of money to outlay. And it's important to me that people are never excluded from creating because of cost. As part of that, I also have a basket over in the corner there, which is our Fibre Forward basket. And what happens is people come in, bring in yarn that they no longer want or they're never going to use, and I package that up and I pass that on to aged care facilities, or people that need it, so then they can't afford to buy it, so they shouldn't be excluded from creating.
Yeah.
So that's what our Fibre Forward baskets are.
I love that. That's a great concept.
Well, it means that no one misses out, because they shouldn't.
Yeah.
we know how good this is for us. We know
Yeah.
how good knitting and crochet is for our mental health and our overall well-being, both from a mental perspective, but also a physiological one.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to me that nobody misses out. So that's where Fibre Forward came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So, but as to choosing what my favourites and special things to showcase, it's so hard. So hard.
I can see why.
Yeah.
After being here.
Yeah,
So.
it's so hard. I mean, I do little videos every now and again showing things that come in, so new things that arrive.
Yeah.
But, as for favourites, that's like asking about a favourite child.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you just have to come down and see the selection because it's like mint. And you can also get some instruction and do what I've done in the time that we have recorded.
We have a granny square. Look at that.
Like legit, I could use that as a little coaster on my
That's
desk.
actually a granny square. It's a complete granny square.
And I just have to do that like
however many times. And if you get stuck, just give me a FaceTime and I'll show. We'll sit there and we'll do a little refresher. So,
this is amazing. Look at Andrea. Thank you so much. It's been really fun.
It's been great. Thank you for coming down and thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime.
Hi everyone. Sorry to interrupt this podcast. I hope you have loved learning about Andrea and Yarn Me Calm, and I really recommend heading down there for a day trip. It is absolutely beautiful and the shop is amazing. I realized that I forgot to announce the giveaway. That was the 2 Pirate Pearl skeins from the last episode. And the winner from our random number generator is Therese Haywood 2521. So Therese, if you could DM me on Instagram, that would be fantastic. And now back to the podcast.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you would like more Fibre Mates content. And drop us a note in the comments. Have you been to Yarn Me Calm? What do you love about it?
Just even if you just want to pop in and say hi, there's never any expectation that you'll buy something when you come here. Just come and say hi and drop in for a hug if you need it. And yeah, not with Caroline or Marg or any of them because they're a bit funny about their personal space, and that's fair. But if you need a hug from me, just ask.
All right, everybody. Until next time, happy crafting, because we are now crocheting as well.